Ahoy hoy. Yeah, it didn't work the first time, but maybe it'll work this time, I don't know. Welcome to FFS Livestream. We are a community spirit project interviewing people from across the industry that are up here in Edinburgh for the festival. We are contactable through any of the following means. We have an email, we have Twitter, we have Facebook, all of the modcons really. We have a GoFundMe page as well if you'd like to throw us a donation. We're supported by the Mental Health Foundation and we're trying to get to the bottom of how people really cope through the festival. So with no ado whatsoever, we're going to introduce our two guests. We've got Double Kempner.
Hello.
How's it going?
Kempner squared. Yes,
Yeah,
good.
Sooz.
Hello.
You've been here for the whole festival?
Yes, all 9 years of the festival. I don't remember what home looks like, but
right.
yeah. But yes, the whole Fringe.
And you're doing 3 shows?
3 shows a day. Yes.
So that's all right. That's
yeah,
easy.
it's fine. It's essentially ask anyone. It's just 3 hours work a day. Most people do more than that, you know, in half a day. So.
Are they spaced out or are they like? On
Yeah,
top of each
I've got
other?
my show at 1 o'clock, and I do a spot in a show at 5 o'clock, and then I run from that show to a musical at 6. So I do a full musical at 6.
A full musical at 6?
Yeah, and
just a
yeah,
day, innit?
nothing major.
And Luke, you 6 shows, 7?
No, well, I was only doing 1, but now halfway through the Fringe, I'm now doing 2. One is a live drunken séance with Carl Donnelly on the Blunderbuss. I haven't told you about this. It's really funny. At like 10 past midnight, and so we've done it the last 2 nights, and then we've got another 2 nights to go.
You're looking very well on it. People keep coming in at 10:30 in the morning and saying, I feel terrible, but
yeah, I don't.
I
mean, I've been quite good at not going out too much, but the last 2 nights, like this séance, it says drunken séance, so, you know, by law, you know, to have a few gin and tonics. Yeah. So, but I think like in a couple of days' time, I'm going to look worse than I do now.
So how many festivals have you done previous to this?
I've done 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my 5th as a comic. But I did one when I did musical theatre in 2008.
That's how you started out? You started
Yeah.
You were in Les Mis, the tour?
Yeah, I was in Les Mis and Avenue Q and South Pacific. But the first show I did here was a show called Departure Lounge, which was, mate, just like, it was sort of 4 lads just coming back off a boys' holiday and getting stuck in the Departure Lounge. It was sort of a metaphor for life. And it was brilliant. I had an amazing time when I was like 21.
I was going to say, can you remember that? Like,
not much of that year, no, because that was going out every single night because I was 21 and didn't worry about looking after my voice.
And your first one, can you remember coming up here the first time?
Yeah, I came up in 2010. I'd only been doing stand-up about a year, and I came up and I'd won Best Newcomer at the Musical Comedy Awards, and they said, you win a 10-minute slot in the Cow Barn, in the Underbelly Cow Barn, which I knew was a big thing, but I didn't realise. I thought, yeah, Edinburgh, there's like probably like 10 venues, and I get to do 10 minutes in one. I came up here 2010 for 3 days, and just, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe there were literally thousands of shows.
I was going to say, I think back then it was a paltry 2.5
Yes, yeah.
I
should have put my flag in the ground then. Hardly any competition.
And I think then people were saying it's too big. It's too big. It's too big. It's going to fail.
Oh,
soon.
It's going to be oversaturation of the comedy market. But yeah, then I came up with my first solo show I just did 2 nights in 2013. Like a work in progress, and I was doing a play at the same time, and then I came in 2014, first solo show, and I'm on my 6th solo show now.
So did you come up first?
No, Sooz.
2008, yeah.
Oh, I see, 2008 with a musical, and then I did my first solo show in 2013, a show called The Only Way Is Downton, which I then did again the year afterwards in a slightly bigger venue. Yeah.
So you're our first pair of Fringe siblings.
Oh, really?
Friblings, I think maybe we can...
Friblings.
Old fribblers.
We've had some couples, but...
right.
Yeah.
So how does that work? Do you keep in contact with each other like constantly throughout the festival?
A bit, but I'm not really in contact with anyone up here.
Yeah, exactly.
There's so much going on. We do.
Like,
it's a bit of WhatsApp, isn't it? But mostly I'm kind of like, oh God, 4 days has gone by and I haven't spoken to...
Yeah. It's
my
nice
best friend up here. You know?
It's nice, like bumping into each other though. Like a couple of days ago, we
Yeah,
just bumped
yeah.
into each other in a bagel place.
I was brilliant. You
Yeah,
couldn't
no,
see
scared
me.
them.
I came and kicked him in the back.
Scared the life out of me.
I was like, "Whoa, 5 stars."
But it is, but that's quite nice because it's like, you know, a friendly face. But same as Sooz, I don't see that many people. Like I see my mates like sort of kind of passing all the time, but like actually going, "Hey man, what are you doing tonight? Let's go for a drink." I don't, you know, it doesn't happen as much as because like 2 or 3 years ago, I'd probably hang out in bars a lot more. But like now, I try to be a bit, you know, a bit more sort of responsible.
Professional.
And, yeah,
Professional.
Yeah.
I mean, we've had that a lot with people saying, you know, that it's really hard when there's so much fun going on around you up here. It's hard to keep that balance of like, I'm a pro and I'm here and I've put a lot of money into this and I need to work very hard on my show.
It's true. Yeah.
But at the same
as well,
time,
like,
you feel like, oh, there's so many opportunities.
Yeah, I know.
Yes. Yeah.
But that's the thing, like, you know, this is why I agreed to do this drunken seance thing, because I was like, we're 3 weeks in, and I was only going to do the first night of it, but then Carl was like, do you fancy doing the other 4 nights of it? And I might have been like, oh God, 10 past midnight every night. But I was like, no, well, this is kind of the point of the Fringe, is doing a drunken seance on top of a bus at 10 past midnight. But it's 3 weeks in. I think if someone had said to me the whole run, Sooz would have done it. But
it'll be fine. I'll get 4 hours sleep between 2 and 6.
So I was like, yeah. So I genuinely, it's been such an amazing thing to do. Because actually, not that I've needed my mind taken off my show, because I'm genuinely having a lovely time. But it's quite nice, something else to concentrate on. That's a just complete muck around laugh sort of thing.
Yeah.
And we talk to dead people. So.
You seem a very happy-go-lucky pair. Do you get bothered by like the pressure up here of reviews and audiences?
In previous years, I've really struggled for numbers. And then reviews have been quite important, particularly last year because I was at the Underbelly. It's very expensive, and I knew I had some reviewers coming, and I needed them to be good reviews to get people in. And I was lucky they were. And then it's just, you know, an extra 5 or 10 people a day, and it takes the pressure off so much. But this year, from day one, my numbers have been really good. I'm in a free venue, so there isn't financial pressure, and people have just been filling the room, which is lovely. So I've made the decision this year. I was like, I'm not going to look for my reviews because I'm having such a nice time. I don't need to see one person's opinion saying that she really needs to get her act together. So I haven't read any apart from yesterday. Sorry, you need to get your act together. But yesterday I got tagged in one on Twitter, and I was like, "Oh, I'm glad I've been tagged." Okay, fine, it's very nice, thank you. But that'll do me. I'll just read that one.
Like being tagged in something, you're like, "Oh, I don't want to see it."
Exactly.
Exactly.
It was literally, I saw it. It came up as like in my notifications, and I already saw the star rating. I was like, "Well, you got away with it this time, review."
I just think at least surely no one would tag me into a horrible review.
I have been.
Really?
In my first year, I got tagged into a 1-star review, and it said like it was on like the 4th day of the Fringe, and it said she has no idea what she's doing. I was like, Dad.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. I knew exactly what I was doing. I was a Fringe veteran. Sorry, I keep my eyes keep running. It's the air conditioning. I'm not like, sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. Yeah.
That's all right. You get the benefit of the tropical breeze, though. It makes it.
It's nice. It's a nice temperature, but I just did my eyeliner and I can feel it running down my face. This is the worst bit of the Fringe.
It's a bit of emotional.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, your worst Fringe experience? Is it that?
Oh no, that was all right. I don't think anyone read that review, except me.
I was going to say, we'll share that around.
Yeah.
We'll
just get it, spread the word. It's been 4 years. Worst Fringe experience, 2016. I made someone encouraged me to make the terrible decision to do 2 solo shows. Because my first year I did a stand-up show and my second year I did a character show. And they'd both been like quite well received. So they said, why don't you just do one of each? And I was like, what a great idea. So I did. I wrote a stand-up show and I wrote a character show. And through various things, I got binned from my free venue for the stand-up show. So I had to seek out another venue, and Underbelly offered me a venue, which was lovely of them, but then suddenly it's thousands of pounds, which I had to scrape together after the Fringe. And every day, the stand-up show in the Underbelly was actually quite nice, but not hugely well attended. So it was a nice show, but every day I was going, okay, so things continuously are about this much, and then the other show, just no one was coming to it, and it was horrible and very damp cave, and I just was miserable every day.
Are you doing like pay as you want? Like pass the
this
bucket?
year, yeah, just literally hold the bucket at the
Is
end.
it the thing where you can buy a ticket in advance to guarantee
No,
entry?
this year it's
Okay.
literally, it's great. I never have to check my ticket sales. If no one comes, then no one comes. But luckily, every day there's been like people who want to hear about Sonic, so it's nice.
And the pressure of like being in, you're in one of the more prestigious venues, which comes with a prestigious price tag, I suppose.
Yes,
And
yes.
So are you like day one? Are you involved in like the financial of it? Do you keep an eye on it, or?
Yes,
you try and
I
ignore
get
that
lots
as
sort of
much
ticket
as
sales
possible?
every day at 2 o'clock, and yeah, I mean the thing is that, you know, I look at Edinburgh. I'm very lucky that ticket sales are sort of usually pretty good, and it's sort of, I look at Edinburgh for me as sort of like developing each year. It forces me to have that pressure to write a new hour and it be better than the year before. And it's sort of, you were mentioning sort of about reviews and stuff, and you know, like for me, I don't read them, but you know, for me, and it's stupid because it is always that one person's opinion, it doesn't matter. But like there was something about this year where I was like, I really would love a really nice sort of review in a good national paper. And because I'm taking the show on tour in March, you know, it's quite good for the tour and stuff like that. But I very much don't like to know when they're in. And because I've done that before and someone's gone, oh, the Telegraph's been in, and you're sort of like, oh, well, when's it coming out? What did they think? They saw a good show? Was it going to, you know, and then you're just thinking about that constantly.
Pressing F5.
Yeah.
Waiting.
Yeah.
I don't usually look for them, but I knew that someone had been in the other day, and I did look for it, and it had been posted like literally 11 seconds before I had searched for it. It said like 11 seconds ago.
Oh, yeah.
I promise I wasn't being obsessive about it, but it could have looked like that to many.
But I did get tagged in one as well, that just before I went on. So that was about 4:30, and I just sort of checked my phone, and it was just in my ads, and it just was like 2 stars, uneven. And I was like, oh, thanks for tagging me in that. Cheers. And just as I went on.
That's the warm-up.
I know, I did a very uneven show.
Limping on, all uneven.
Yeah, I know.
Whoa!
It's good feedback though, because you can even that up.
Yeah, that's good.
Go straight
exactly.
on and just
Let's
like,
get this even.
Yeah.
I'll fix that. The city of Edinburgh. What do you do when you're up here, that's not Fringe connected? Do you like to go places? Is there a particular
Do you
place?
go anywhere? I've been sitting in my room watching Breaking Bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I hadn't watched it since it stopped airing in 2013, since the last episode aired. And so I went, I think I'm going to watch it from the beginning.
Oh.
It's really good activity.
Is it a good show?
Oh, it's really good. The second time around it's great. But then last Tuesday the broadband went down in our flat. And it was down for 3 days. I couldn't watch Breaking Bad. And honestly, I'd rather the water had gone down. It was.
Worst festival experience.
Oh, yeah, yes,
I was on the phone.
is.
At one point, I did. That's my only Fringe cry. Was on the phone to the broadband people, going, "No one is helping me." On like two days without broadband, I was like, "This is ridiculous." So we don't have a telly in the flat either, so I'm justified.
Yeah, a lot of people said that's what they do. That tends to be like their sanctuary. Like I think Netflix has got a lot of pops on this.
Yeah,
on this show. People saying,
Yeah.
just want to go into a room, shut the door, and
Yeah,
just,
it
like,
is. And I wake up so early that my show's at 1. I leave at just before midday, but I'm usually awake before 6, so I can get in like 8 episodes of a morning.
Smash a series in 3 days.
And how do you power this? Like, are you looking after yourself? I mean,
Yeah,
up at 6, 3 shows in the day.
Yeah. No, I don't drink at the Fringe.
Right.
And I try and eat properly. I bring my slow cooker up and make big pots full of vegetables, and just try and a lot of steaming.
As someone said the other day, that vegetables do exist up here. You just you seek them
You have
out.
to look for them, but they are
Find a
there.
dealer. And
Yeah,
we'll go.
yeah. They give you a good price on some avocado. If I went out caning it every night, I'd be ruined.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
within
definitely
3
with
days.
3 shows,
Yeah.
that seems like that's just
And
not
one
an
of
option.
one of the shows is like it's quite high octane singing. Like I couldn't be singing all those high notes if I was out drinking. So I mostly don't see shows after the musical.
And like Luke said about it, like, Edinburgh's a great chance to like workshop material. So you kind of you're honing your new hour. Is that what you're doing with all?
Yeah. I actually see the year leading up to Edinburgh as my development time.
I mean, yes, that's the professional thing, isn't it? You get a show ready. You don't just turn up.
Well, no, it's just I try and write it by late January, so that then I'm just working on it for 6 months, and then by Edinburgh it's kind of ready. And obviously the first 3 or 4 days you then get it into Edinburgh mode. But that the 11 months, that's where I feel like I become hopefully a better comedian.
Right.
And then I show people, look what I made. I show them my pasta necklace every August.
How do you lift yourself? Like your 2-star review just before you go on, how do you, or a sort of bad first 5 minutes where the crowd's not quite with you, how do you keep that together?
You try and not think about it, I suppose. Like, you know, there's, you know, I've been writing, after every show, I've been writing a football score of how the show went, and sort of a little review, but in the style of a football match. And it's sort of like, because then next year, you know, when you come up and you suddenly have 3 good days, and any other day when you lose 3-0 in a show, you don't get that feeling of like, oh no, it's terrible now, because actually you're always going to get ups and downs, I can't say. Ups and downs.
Ups and downs.
But like, you know, like on Saturday, I had it was like sold out, but the show was really quiet, and I had like a couple of mates in who I really, you know, wanted them to show a good show, and I came and I was like, oh, you know, but actually, like, you just know the next day, like you know, just go and do it again. And you know, as far as sort of chilling out and stuff, like I have my PlayStation 4 up here, and I play a lot of Far Cry, and that sort of is my like hour not thinking about stuff.
Right. So it's just escapism.
Yeah, I mean, I see a lot of shows when I'm up here as well. Like I love the fact you know you're suddenly in a place where you get to see the stuff that you love. Like I used to come up before I did the Fringe and just seeing shows, and now it's sort of like you get to do it as well as being in a show, and then when you go on, you might be inspired by something you've seen, and I think that sort of experience of it is great and lifts you up.
Yeah, I feel really bad because I've not seen nearly as much as I
I've hardly seen anything.
Yeah.
I've got a day off from the musical today, and I've got a show I want to see at 7. I'm definitely going to see it. But yeah, it's hard. I'm like, what am I meant to sing? I'm going to see an evening show.
Yeah, yeah. I think it was only like, you know, when it's suddenly the day off, and you're like, I'll treat myself to a show past 7.
Yeah.
Gonna go and burn the candle.
Yeah.
How about your nerves? Do you get nervous?
Yeah, leading up to the Fringe I do. I find it really stressful because it's such a lot. Like, it's just such a lot that you go, well, what if it's awful? Like 2016, I was really down. And I was like, I don't want that again. But once it turns out it's all right, like, I try and set my expectations really low so that I'm not going, oh, it has to be amazing, because it doesn't have to be amazing. Like, no one's entitled to an amazing.
It does have to be amazing. Amazing.
You know, no one's entitled to like an incredible run. So
Yeah.
I just hope it'll be a nice run, and so far it's just really exceeded my low expectations.
That's good to hear. I mean,
Yeah.
we were talking yesterday about this is always a really tricky time of the festival because you've got another week to do.
Yeah.
And if it's not going so well, it's like chances are it's not going to get any better.
No,
You just
exactly.
have to kind of keep.
Yeah.
Gotta
I've
keep
got
going.
25 shows to go. So I know.
Oh my god.
25. I counted them today.
That's mad. Like if you were just doing one show, that'd be the beginning of the run.
Yeah.
I think it's
Yeah.
right. Like for me, I'm the same. Like leading up to it, I get my poor wife that has to deal with me being so anxious, nervous, not sleeping, because and it's so because you're right. It's like if no one's got, you know, it doesn't have to be amazing, but like that doesn't mean you don't work as hard. But but that's my thing is like, if I work every hour of the day, then I can't ever feel like I've not done enough. So I get really stressed before the show and before the run starts, and then like I get really nervous before every show. So I have an amazing app called Calm, which I do 10 minutes of meditation at like 45 minutes before my show, which is just like a whole, just concentrating on breathing, and that's when I turn phones off because otherwise you read 2-star reviews.
Yeah.
So like it's like aeroplane mode, nothing else, just meditate, run the first 5 minutes of the show, and do that vocal warm up that we used to see me doing last year.
Yeah.
And for me that is a way of getting all the rest of this stuff out of my head, so I can just concentrate on the show. And genuinely, like that app is my best friend. I love it. Like it's a real way of just going, now I've got to do a show.
Well, we're still looking for sponsors, so.
Oh well, you should get Calm's amazing.
I was
They
gonna
should
say,
sponsor you.
We'll put the details on the screen. And
Yeah.
we'll tweet
That's
tweet it at
brilliant.
them.
Yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it? Like people dealing with the pressures, and I think recently, like mental health for performers has become like a big sort of thing. Everyone's talking about it all of a sudden, and I think we've been talking about everybody's got pressure on them, but I think it's because performers spend so much time pretending to be somebody else, and they tend not to be quite so honest with kind of how they're actually doing underneath.
Oh yeah.
And they sort of forget. You spend most of your life being somebody
Say,
else, and putting on silly voices.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things because like people, I did my show last year was called "Take a Long Hard Look at Yourself," and it was sort of about that thing of like, you know, because people had often said to me, oh, you know, do you put on voices because you struggle being yourself? And I used to go, oh yeah, maybe I do, but I don't. Like, you know, like I'm not someone who. Like, you know, in our conversation, I've not done one voice. It's not that sort of
No, it's
thing.
been
where,
really disappointing.
I know, yeah, sorry.
Andy
What would
Mario's
Arsene Wenger think about coping with the
Yeah,
Fringe?
no, exactly. Well, Donald Trump would really struggle, you know.
That's nothing like Arsene Wenger.
I thought you were at least going to do as an Alan Hansen at the end. Of
Well, exactly, yeah. Do Alan Carr for you if you'd like.
Hey, finally.
Throw them out. But like, you know, I feel like as the years have gone by, I've felt more and more myself on stage, which, because I think last year I did a bit of stuff where I was trying to talk about myself and it didn't always feel quite natural. So every time it got to that point in the show, I felt a little bit sticky with what I was saying, where this year I don't feel like that. And I think that mentally that it feels a lot nicer because you go on stage and like, oh, it's just me for an hour. Even if I'm doing sketches and voices, it's all coming from what I enjoy doing instead of forcing a thing where you're like trying to talk about your something that's made you feel sad or something like that, where some people relish in that kind of thing. But for me, I don't find that as easy on stage.
Is there any Fribling rivalry? Who's best?
This question comes up in every single time we're ever.
And I am the best.
There, and and the answer is Luke.
Yeah,
is the best.
I think it's like, you know, it's quite unusual for siblings to both be in exactly the same profession.
Yeah, and when they are, they tend to be like, well, there's that duo, Siblings.
Should we go?
This guy is not tired of the Fringe.
No, this guy has been looking after his voice.
Yeah. But yeah,
Siblings.
there's a duo called Siblings, so they're two sisters. So there are a few like related acts, but it's Jack Whitehall does that act with his dad.
Yeah. And there's like Natasha and Jamie Demetriou, and then the Coopers who do This Country.
Flo and Joan.
Flo and Joan. Yeah. So,
Too many is what we're saying.
yeah, exactly. If anything, get rid of them. But I think, you know, like it's kind of nice once you're up here, because then you're just both going through the same sort of thing.
Yeah.
But no, it's not.
It's nice to make a Fringe family so that you've got some support. But if you can bring one with you,
exactly. Yeah, Mum comes up and visits every year. She
it's
comes
her
up for 5 days.
It's her holiday. It's her favourite time of the year. Her words.
She loves the Fringe.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. God, it's upsetting how much she loves the Fringe.
She doesn't seem to get that tired as well.
No.
Like walking up and down them hills, you know, at her age.
She rides 6 horses a day.
Yeah.
My mum brought a posse up last year, and
oh, really?
she's not made it up this year. But she got up the hills last year.
Yeah.
Shout out, Mum. That's the first shout out. We've done 25 hours of interviews so far this Fringe.
Yeah, and
that's first shout out.
Finally, Mum's made it.
I live with my mother-in-law when I'm up here because my wife's from Edinburgh. And she does so much PR work for me because like all of her friends come and see the show. She comes like 3 times, and then, you know, always just says to me, she's like, "Well, I've seen your show 3 times." I'm like, I didn't ask you to come through. No, that wasn't nice. You know, but that's also quite nice for ticket sales.
Yeah,
I just came to see your show.
Yeah, she came to my show.
It's always great to get like. You know, at least you've got people.
Oh, I think a good 80% of my audience is my mother-in-law's friends.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking
to us.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of the festival.
Cheers.
Anything you're really looking forward to?
I'm going to drive
Sleep,
all night
I
on Monday night after the musical. I'm going to set up at 7:30, drive all night and get home, and then pick up my cat and sing Cyndi Lauper's I Drove All Night.
Oh, I can't be that.
I was going to say you can't.
I'm looking forward to getting home and talking like Alan Carr in the mirror.
Never have to use your own voice.
No, and I won't. In fact, from this day forward. I'm going to be a more successful
And
comedian.
I'm going to be Andy Murray from now
For
on.
heaven's sake.
I'm Andy Murray.
Yeah, sorry about this.
We're
Only one
both
does the
impressions.
impressions, right?
Yeah, well, no, you do a do your Ray Liotta.
That was all the money we had, Karen.
This could continue for a while. We're just going to let this roll for a bit.
I'm Al Pacino now.
So you guys should go get a coffee or something. We'll be back with another episode soon. Thank you for stopping by. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to stay hydrated.